Devin. I'm an actor and a singer. Um, Thanks for watching.
So welcome back everyone to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan. For today, and what can I say? We have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary Devin. Devin, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. That was a beautiful introduction.
Absolutely. I mean, what better way to have an incredible, badass, super morning that you be chatting with someone as badass? Do you know what I mean?
I know. Or as bad as you. I'm having a great morning because I'm going to talk to you today.
Plus it's the weekend, so I mean, yeah, it's a weekend. It's a perfect way. I mean, yeah. What can I say? I mean, I'm already speechless, and we haven't even started yet. So, uh, I love it.
Let's go.
Yeah. Now, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, follow, helps a lot. But also, on the description below, you're gonna find all of Devin's social media. Let's follow her. You know what? Let's make her viral right now. Hashtag Team Devin. And now, let's find out why she's badass and incredible. So, Devin, let's go back in time and tell me what drew you into this whole passion for acting and music as well.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It's really interesting for me. I think ever since I was little, I've just been a performer. It could be because I was like one of the younger people, like firstborn in my family. And so I think I always had like this thing where I felt like I had to perform, and my family was always watching me to do stuff. And so ever since I was a little, we'd be like singing together. I'd have like a spoon and I'd be like, doing some like David Bowie and stuff like that, old timey Beatles. And then I moved into like for a little bit was doing opera. Like I wanted to grow up to be a famous opera singer.
Okay, cool.
Hilarious. So I was doing that for a bit, and then that led into like singing O Canada when I was like 6. And then at that time too, I started in theater. I was like in Annie as Molly. Um, and that's when I was like, oh wow, like this doesn't just happen in singing. Like you can kind of just you can act as well. Like you can use your body to do a bunch of different things. And I guess I've always seen myself as like, I don't know, not like a puppet, but like I enjoy the fact that you can like kind of like contextualize that you've been given this and then use it as like a method to express things in different ways.
Hmm.
So then, yeah, from there, then I have a degree in music theater, and I
Oh,
wanted to do Broadway for a bit, which I still would love to. And then COVID hit, so theater got shut down, and then that's when I moved into film and television. And I was like, wow, this is really cool and something different. And now there's just been a strike, so I'm like, okay, well then it's time to go back to music and like reflesh that out, like reflesh that passion out. I'm just super here for like having the ability to continue to work as everyone should with what
mhm.
what drives their soul, like what makes them fire up. So it's just, yeah, I just have always just been a born performer maybe, and that's it.
There you go. I love it. But tell me, what were some of the challenges that you had when you were like, you know what, this is gonna be my passion now?
Hmm. um Definitely like there's always like, how do you make it happen? Like if you see something in your mind, you can see it, but you're here. So I think it's like every day taking the steps to kind of just breathe through it and understand that like what you visualize is possible. Um, and so like I'm huge on the universe. So just allowing certain people to come into your life to kind of guide you and train you in certain ways.
Hmm.
And so every step along the journey, there's just been like, what I mean? Like there's just been like, oh, that sign up for that class because you need to learn something about singing, or meet that person and go to coffee because they know something about acting. Like you kind of just follow the waves you know
Hmm. Hmm.
um, but it is a hard career for sure because you can't follow any, like you have to follow your heart to go with it. And so if you got a blocked off heart, then those are hard days. But if you got an open heart, then those are really easy days because you're like, oh, I'm doing exactly what I need to be doing, even though it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of things and it doesn't look like I'm moving in any direction per se.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does make sense. And also, I mean, I do also think that everything happens for a reason, and there's always a chance to learn something, even if you met someone just randomly, or if you uh are, I don't know, in a workplace and you have like your coworkers. I mean, there's so many things if you like open your mind to it, you get the chance to learn so like a lot of things, and also at the same time you get the chance to discover more about yourself, and in a way, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like for forever, I was in the service industry ever since I was like young, and I started as
Yeah.
like a busser, and then did all that kind of stuff and worked up. And like the whole time, I have in mind what it is that I'm like what I want to create for my life, but I'm not. But I'm being present to what I'm doing so much
Hmm.
that I'm allowing the experience of being in the place that I'm at to influence what I want for the future because of the people I meet along the way and
Yeah.
their stories and being very present to what they have to say. You're like, oh my god, that's sick. Like everyone's journey is different, you know. So I think
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
absolutely, absolutely, and also it's important, right? To when you're starting out, I mean, it's okay if you take parts from somebody else's path at some point, like take pieces here and there in order, but it's important that you start to create your own. Otherwise, you're gonna look like the 2.0 for somebody else, and at some point, since it's not you, you might hate it. You might kind of not like it, and yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
I love it. Now let's focus a little bit now on the whole music side. Tell me how you create a song, like what is your create yeah like what is your process here? Do you have a, I don't know, like a ritual, or like what is your thing in order for you to be like, you know what, i'm gonna start I'm gonna start creating a song here?
Um, okay, so I think like ever since I was younger, I always was creating songs. But then I think the biggest thing is like a huge hurdle to get over is what do you want to share, right?
Okay.
I think there comes a point of like obviously the amount of my time I only recently have been sharing singles, and I'd even say like I'm not the most impressed, but you have to just get to a point where you're like, okay, this is something that needs to be put out, because once you put it out, then you have a little bit more of an understanding of like, oh, okay, well that doing that felt a certain way, and so I have to just keep doing that so that I can make the content that I really need. um but yeah, like I've got like catalogs and catalogs of songs, and creating them, I think it's just like when you're listening to, I'd say my heart again, but like a
Mm-hmm.
higher frequency kind of steps in. Sometimes I like to create with other people. Like co-creation is really fun and is a lot more easy. It's great when you have two different minds together. So if you sit down, you can have a writing session, and the two of you will be like, okay, like how do we want to start this beat? And you listen to that, and then you're like, hey, what is that giving us? And then you'll kind of just like bounce off of each other in terms of being like, do we have a concept? Like what kind of story are we creating inside of this song?
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like a painting in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys kind of just like get to paint together and create this masterpiece. Um, yeah, I don't know. A lot of the times it's like songs are really healing. So when in my life, when there's hurdles or things that I'm having blockages and I can't get past, that's usually when I'll write a song and I think that the song's important,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like something's not clicking for me in my world. And so I have to be like, okay, let's like dive into this, and maybe through creating it, it'll heal something. And like maybe not only just for me, once I expose it to the world, maybe it'll heal something in somebody else. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. And let's talk about a little bit about your single Gone. Tell me how was I listened to it, I watched the video, cool, loved it. But tell me how was the whole like the whole idea here for you to create that song?
Um, so I had a friend of mine that had seen me singing, and she was like, I'd really like to co-write a song with you. So we sat down for like a couple hours, and we talked about like what's going on in your life, and it's always like this weird
Mm-hmm.
therapy session.
Yeah.
Um, at that point, I was going through this idea of like feeling like I always need to be running away from something.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just would consistently just hop on planes alone. Like I'm a huge solo traveler. And so I'd be like, I don't know what's going on in my world here, but it does make sense for me. And so I need to leave. And so we talked about that. And that's the whole thing of gone, like back now I'm going, I'm gone, I'm going. Um, and I don't know if it was at the time, I'm like, am I running away from a person? Am I
Mm-hmm.
running away from myself? Because everything that I have in my life is so full of love and beauty. Why is it that I need to keep on
Yeah.
exploring more? So that's kind of where the song came from. And I saw it as like a fault of mine, which I think is interesting. And I wrote that now. I think it's been like 2 years since I wrote that. Um, and at this point, I don't see that fault as a fault anymore. Now I'm kind of like,
Hmm.
it's just the way that I am as a person. I just have to keep on exploring things. And I've just got a lot of love to give in my life. So I just like to have beautiful pockets everywhere. And so instead of it being like this horrible thing of like, oh my God, I keep leaving and like, what does that mean? And like, whatever, it's like, no, like, I left my towel on the floor. I have to go. Like, I have to leave, but I'll be back and I always will, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was what that was
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, I love that song. Gave me that vibe too. And you know, something interesting is that I also tend to sometimes just run away from things. And but it's not but it's funny because some people might think it that I'm just this rude asshole for because sometimes I want to, just like to walk away, but it's not like that. It's sometimes that at least to me too, I just get this feeling that I get that like there's so many things out there, and I'm like, why not just explore them? You get so many things. I mean, I mean, basically what I'm trying to say here is that there's a world out there that is basically waiting for you to start to explore it. I got the opportunity a lot of years back that I traveled to Europe and I stayed there for a couple of like almost 2 years. And it was amazing because you get the chance to see like so many different cultures, so many different countries, so many fun experiences that maybe at that point they were not fun at all. But later on, you start to see like the fun of it, and also it helps you for you to learn more about yourself. And also, if you travel alone, I'm also one of these type of people who says like go for it, because you also get the chance to at the same time know more about yourself, but also for you to kind of be more comfortable with you. You start to develop like this relation with yourself to be like more comfortable with yourself, as some people might be difficult for them and they need to be with someone. So yeah, so that's why I was telling you that that song gave me like that, like those vibes, and they took me for a while. That song took me a little bit from those experiences in the past, and I was like, huh, that's pretty cool. So
That's amazing. Like that, I feel like that's what's so cool about songs is like it's to help other people realize things inside of themselves too, right?
totally,
So that's cool that that affected you in that way. And yeah, it's not, I don't know, I don't think it is running away from anything, right? Like it's just expanding. And I think every
yeah.
human deserves to expand for sure.
Absolutely. And also there's moments in your life in which you want to just kind of regroup yourself, maybe you are healing from for anything. So it's okay for you to sometimes take breaks. I do think that sometimes we forget that we're humans by the end of the day, and we get this idea sometimes that no, you need to work 24/7. You can't stop, you're going to sleep only when you die and things like that. And due to that, then you have like this society now when sometimes they feel just depressed because they really want to just take a break of things, but they get forced into this idea that no, you can't. And if you have this feeling, then don't quit, work even harder, which is not, I mean, maybe for some people that work, which is totally understandable, but at least to me, when I started to get like this feeling, I'm like, okay, then it's probably for me to just close the curtain for a while, do something else, and I'll be back for sure. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
love it.
Very
Now, tell me, what are some of your yeah, like what are some of your music inspirations here? Do you have like a favorite artist or band that has like inspired you a little bit to create your own thing?
Ooh, I don't know. I think that, hmm, w- when I was younger, I was obsessed with David Bowie. I don't
Okay,
know.
I like it.
That's definitely not like what my inspiration for my songs are per se, but it's just
Mm,
like this being that is like I don't know. It's just the way that he speaks through his songs is like otherworldly, which I'm
mm,
always like very intrigued with. But in terms of like creating my own music, why I held back from it for so long was because I was like, oh no, I'm an actor and you can't do both for some reason, I thought. So to get over that hurdle, I've just been like watching a lot of like, let's say like Disney stars and stuff
okay.
like that who have done both. So like an Olivia Rodrigo who like, did the acting and now she's got her full singing career. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's totally possible. And when you think about it, it's also when you start to release music, you have to think about like what kind of audience do you want to have.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to me, like a lot of the times I'm playing 15 or younger, which I'm not that age. And so in terms of my music, I've made stuff that is a little bit older, but maybe I'm not ready to release it just yet, just because I'm still kind of playing to a younger crowd. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
So I'm
mm-hmm.
thinking about things from both aspects just because and then
Yeah.
maybe that's a blockage. Like maybe eventually I have to let that go. Um but yeah, right now I'm just a little bit more watching actors who also sing. Like Renee, oh my gosh, why can't I remember her name? She's been on Broadway, she's done acting, and she also releases music as well. And I'm like, oh, that's like a really cool career. So that's kind of interesting. Um, but in terms of like actual musicians that I'm obsessed with, it's like Pink or yeah, it's like Prince, it's like David Bowie, it's like all
Mm,
these like multifaceted beings that had something to share with the universe. That's always been something. Or like the Pink Floyd album, stuff like that. Not that I could ever create that. And I think that's also something that I was like, I can't even make songs because they'll never be that great. But that's not what it's about, right?
yeah.
Like you have something to share that will touch somebody in some way. So just let it go and just just share, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if you like something and you want to share it, go for it. You know, I mean, the important thing is that you like it. You know, I was the other day checking like this, like this video in which they were saying that if you want to share something, that's fine, go for it. But if you're releasing it for people only for people to like it, probably those would be like the wrong reasons. Just make sure that if you release something, make sure that you like it, and that's even better because if someone can relate on the thing you're releasing, that's fantastic. So yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I like it. Now you are like badass plus, like you're just stepping here. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Now, before moving in, tell me a little bit about your other song, Face. Like
Phase.
same thing happened. Like tell me how this whole creation process started and how you were able to create it.
Okay, phase was a really weird thing because it's a phase. I don't know. That's a whole thing that I say all the time. Everything's just a phase, and that kind of helps you kind of move through life and be like, wow. Instead of like having attachment to things, which we are allowed to love and attach ourselves to things, but to allow yourself to keep moving on and not having to sit in like the depression of letting things go,
Yeah.
you can literally just be like, it's a phase, and seeing things for that, you can be super present to what it is, and then you can take it all in and absorb it and love it for what it is, and then you can move on. And so phase was actually written about a really really good friend of mine, and we had like just a lot of fun together, and then eventually obviously like you have to grow up, but that doesn't mean that what you shared is not important,
Mm.
and helped you develop so much about yourself. So I wrote phase like a long time ago, and I just thought that it was like important to release just as a fun bop for people to kind of listen to and not take things too seriously.
Yeah.
Um, and then like through the process, just randomly somebody was like, I want to help you make a music video for this. And I was like, oh, like I kind of want to have more songs come out. I don't know if this is the right thing to be making a music video for. And they're like, no, it's a bop. Let's do it. So it came out of nowhere. And then all of a sudden we were just making this music video, and like something like I'm huge for just being like following the way that things are kind of turning. So I just was like, okay, like I guess this is important to focus on.
Yeah.
Um, and so this weird music video was created with a bunch of really talented people. And I learned a lot in terms of, because I also like kind of want to at some point get into directing and filmmaking. And so in a smaller scale, it really helped me understand like, sitting down with the colorist and understanding how to color a music video and being like,
Mhm.
wow, this is actually really hard to figure out what color frame you want to create to tell a story. And then like, what does that look like when the DOP is shooting something? And is that really like the angle that you want? And what does that explain and show? So it's like, it's very interesting that it's like, there's so many layers to it. Um, but yeah, inside of phase and what it started as, it was kind of just like a tribute to somebody that I love and care about a lot. Um, and then it kind of morphed into kind of like sisterhood, because there's
Mm.
a point when you have to get to, as you get older, you're like, oh, I need to find a partner now. And so you can't always be with your female friends forever. Like you could be, but honestly, it kind of is just like a phase, like that love that you have
Mm.
from the females around you, in that young youthful time is so precious, and it's very hard to describe. But the love from other women is like so beautiful. Um, and then it kind of has to shift because eventually people have to grow up and go on
Move
their
on.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to move on. So phase was literally just being like, shoot, I loved this phase of my life. This was sick. And I'm gonna love every other phase too. But
Absolutely.
like let's do this to release it and move on, you know?
Mm.
So
So it would be like a little bit of a little bit of a closure here, let's say.
yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, kind of.
I love it. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, I can understand that. And yeah, sometimes it sucks when like on a specific time in your life that you were enjoying it finishes. But I think that's just life, you
It
know?
is.
Everything has a start and has an ending. So yeah, just part of it. Which is as I was saying, it sucks sometimes, but that's just the way it is. And it's important for you to understand that that's just normal, that there's closures and that there's going to be a lot of closures in your life, and you just have to move on and keep moving forward. Or otherwise, if you get stuck, what is going to happen is that time is going to keep moving, and then you're going to stuck, and you're going to be wasting time on the past, you know what I mean? So yeah.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah. So it's cool. It was cool that there was a song that was made out of trying to move past
Yeah,
something.
I love
Right?
that.
And that's just the way you got to see it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, I'm going to leave all of the links for those music videos in the description below, just saying.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great. It'd be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, absolutely. So people can be like, I want to see what the fuss is about. Check it out and return to this. So
Yeah, that's cool. And I
there
hope
you
it brings
go.
them joy. I don't know, or something. You know, I feel like as an artist, you just want to move people, change, move, and inspire people in
Yeah,
some way.
but you know what? I'm sure they will, because if you're doing it for the right reasons, it's inevitable. And plus, you're super talented. And as I was saying, I did listen to them, and they were pretty cool. I was like, okay, this is I can see myself listen to this every now and then, of course. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, yeah. Fun.
I love
Very
it.
cool.
Now, let's say, you know what, that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to start into the whole music industry. But here's the thing. I have zero experience, nothing. And I can barely sing. Um, so based on what you know and what you've been through, what do you think would be important, like a good place for me to start?
Hmm. Vocal lessons? If you can't,
Fair
that would
enough.
be vocal lessons is definitely the right place to start. Um, but also, I mean, find people who are kind of doing it. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Surrounding yourself with other creatives is probably the most important thing, so that you can kind of get into pick their brains
Mm,
and get into studios and just start kind of playing around. You don't actually like when you're in a studio. Think levels can be changed and adjusted,
mm-hmm.
so it's not the most important thing. But I would say like if you do want to sing, then you'd have to like get somebody to listen to your voice and help you work through it. Um, and then you can move into the next stages of just like recording and releasing. Um, I mean, for me, I'm just independent, right? Like I'm not attached to any label or anything like that, and I don't know if I necessarily will at any point because I'm kind of just enjoying the journey of creating and releasing and seeing where things go. But some people like right away they're like, okay, like I want to sign with the label and I want to do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For me, that becomes like money gets thrown around, and then it's like, are you really doing it for the right reasons? And you know what I mean? So yeah, for beginners, it's literally just like, yeah, follow your heart and um, be around people that will change, move, and inspire you, so you can continue to inspire yourself.
There you go. I tell you what, if I ever become a musician and I release my first single, once it gets an award for something, I'll be mentioning you in my thank you speech. You got it. This wouldn't be possible without Devin, just saying. So
What the heck? You're so funny.
yeah, and
Oh,
I tell you what, I will even cut the whole trophy in half. So then later on, I will be sending to you, so you can have half of it. Of course, I can do it on the moment, but later on, I will be doing be like, this is your half. So yeah,
no, what the heck? No, 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 no. You're hilarious.
yeah,
You can
absolutely.
do everything. Everybody can do anything, you know what I mean?
That's the thing here that I want to that I'm telling people every single day, that you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Of course, that I mean, it doesn't matter how old you are. There's always a way to do what you love the most. I'm this type of people that wants to inspire them somehow and to wake them up, because it pains me whenever I see someone who has a dream and they just walk out because I don't know, they think they're not worthy, or they think they're not gonna be able to make it, things like that. And
Yeah.
I sometimes blame the whole media to it, because they gave us this fake idea of success, that in order for you to be successful, you need to have this huge mansion of, I don't know, 25 rooms. You need to have like 5, 6, 7, 10 cars, probably, 2 yachts, a yacht, why not? And because of that, now you have this bunch of this whole generation stuck, because they have like this fake idea of success, which is not like that. I mean, I have met people that have like a totally normal life, and and when you talk to them, you feel like their vibe to it, you feel like a really good vibe, and they're just happy to it. And that's, I mean, and that's what I'm trying to say to people, that success is not money. Success is when you do something that you actually feel good about it, and you actually feel important, and you actually feel comfortable to it. That when you get the chance to say I love what I do, then you're successful. Because then there's like, there's so many people out there who they do things that they hate, but they have to, because they have to sustain a life, which is totally understandable. But why not try something different? I mean, you already have the worst outcome, which is nothing. So why not use that time? Why not use that time and focus on something that you love the most? If acting is your thing, music, writing, I don't know, just go for it and try it. There are so many ways now, and with the internet now, I mean, that you can find free lessons on YouTube, things like that, and you can start to develop like your own stuff here and there. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, the one thing that you just said, it's definitely, to live in a world where everybody is fulfilling their passion would be the best world. And
Yeah,
obviously clear piece of structures and stuff like that, and we can totally get into this, but it'll whatever go on forever. But people need to earn money and a living, and
totally.
that's clear. But uh, like starting off with it just being a hobby is also just as valid and important, to allow, like, just if that's just like 10% of your day where you can just fuel your soul a little bit, that'll turn into, you know what I mean? Like, you just don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I think the biggest thing in both acting and in singing or whatever kind of passion you're doing, is having a community of people that all love and do the same thing, because then that will also motivate you to continue on the journey, because now it's not only you existing by yourself being like, man, there's this thing that seems untangible and like hard to reach. You have a whole bunch of other people that are there too being like, no, it's right here. Like, the joy and the passion is within us, and we get to create what it is that we want to create. um and yeah, like, I know a lot of people that still, like, work really hard at, like, in the service industry or their 9 to 5 job. But if it's a passion, you can still continue to tap into it.
Yeah.
And you every day. Yeah.
Yeah, you can make it happen. I mean, it's all about perspective and all about how much you want it. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
incredible. So we're just killing it here. We're just preaching both here. I love it. I love it. Now, focusing a little bit now on the whole acting side. Tell me how you continue to challenge yourself, but at the same time grow as an actor.
Yes. Okay. Well, like I said, I do a lot of traveling. I find that the case study of other people and yourself is super important
Mm-hmm.
to, being able to identify, like, when you read a script. Sometimes when I read a script and I think about, like, oh my god, this character reminds me of that woman that I met at the bar like 3 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I really enjoyed her talking pattern and the story that she had. Like, it's like this cool way. The more people that you meet, the more, understanding you have of humanity, and then that way you can completely use that inside of what you're creating.
Mm-hmm.
So going out and traveling and continuing to meet people and having, like, really deep conversations with people completely helps your acting. It also helps you as a person understand who you are. And the closer you understand yourself, the easier it is for you to kind of, like, pick apart parts of your psyche and then be like, oh man, this character would totally have this kind of psyche, would totally, like, is totally driven by these things. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
every human has, like, a reason why they do the things that they do innately. And so when you read a script or you read a character and you get given that, you're like, oh man, like, why is she acting that way? Like, why do I want to make her to act that way? Like, what is she, needing, or where is she lacking, and why does she feel insecure? So yeah, traveling, meeting new people, that always helps acting, I think. And watching movies, obviously. Watching shows is super important because that's
Mm-hmm.
also just like the technical aspect of things. um like, to get into a whole other thing, but like when you watch the way that certain things are filmed, then you can see like how an actor kind of like move their eyes and stuff like that, and how that like tracks, you know. It's just a case study. You can study other actors, you can study people, you study yourself. That's
Yeah.
how you get better. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me, what are some of your favorite films right now?
Shoot. Um okay, well, I will always say that I really like Mulholland Drive with David
Okay.
Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
Um every time I watch that, I'm just like, what? Okay, because it's October, for some reason, what just popped into my head, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, okay. I like it. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good
Great
one.
movie. That is a
Yeah.
great movie. um, and Johnny Depp is great in that. Like he's just like such a weird little character, you know what I mean? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
so strange and odd, and it makes you feel super uncomfortable. And I feel like even Mulholland Drive makes you feel super uncomfortable. I really like watching movies that are like not necessarily horrors or thrillers, but like after you're done watching it, you're like, wow, that took me on an experience, and like I feel a little bit fucked up right now. Like I
Yeah.
don't feel great.
Mm-hmm.
Love those kind of movies. It's always fun to like watch a TV series that's like teens and easy to watch, but I like to like psychologically mess with my brain a little bit.
Hmm. Okay.
What about you? What's your favorite movie?
Ooh. Oh. Oh. You just put me on the spot. That okay, that's gonna be a little bit hard because hmm, dang it. All right, so favorite movie. When there's so many. But you know what? I'm just gonna stick with an oldie, Forrest
Okay.
Gump. That I would think that would be like one of my favorite ones, because I mean, at least to me back when I was little, I remember that most of yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say like every Christmas was like that, but there were some Christmas that while I was opening up the gift, yeah, like the whole presents and everything, and super excited to play with my toys and everything. On the TV was Forrest Gump, so I will be just watching it. So now when I watch it, it just takes me back to those times, and I just enjoy it. Plus, it's a very cool movie because you get the chance to see about a person who was just honest with himself, and it's incredible how life turned out for him, and how everything at some point was accommodating perfectly to him, and also the fact that he invests in Apple at some point. I was like, okay, this is hilarious. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that one. That one would be like my favorite one. And for TV shows, for TV shows, well, at the moment, I'm watching again The Office. I mean, I do
Oh
have
yeah.
I do have a 9 to 5 job, that basically pays bills. So when I watch The Office, it's just funny because it takes me to moments that I have kind of lived, like that. So yeah,
Yeah, those are great. I forgot about Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump is a beautiful movie. It's done so well, and I like the fact that you said that it like reminds you of your childhood. That's so interesting. It's a really good feel good movie.
yeah,
Cool, and The Office is just so silly.
yeah. Like
It's
wait,
great.
yeah.
It's great. I need to rewatch The Office just to like just for the comedy of it all, and just be like, you know what, life's just silly. It's just dumb. It's
Yeah,
great.
exactly. I mean, it's one of those shows in which you just have to disconnect a little bit and just enjoy the whole comedy to it, and have fun. But one of the films that basically played with my brain a lot was Babadook. It's kind of a horror film, but it's more like a psychological thriller, and it's incredible because it's about this monster, but throughout the whole film, you never see the monster. So it's all about. Yeah, I mean, I remember that when I watched that film, it didn't scare me, but when I finished it, I was just like in my mind, like a few times. I'm this type of person that when I watch like a very intense film, once I finish it, I just tend to on my way home, I just think about it. Be like interesting. So this happened like that, and then watch some reviews here and there to see, to know about the whole opinion from other people. So yeah, that film is good. It's really good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do remember watching that in theaters, but I can't really remember what it's about. But I do remember it. It's like the whole like Baba Duke, Duke. Oh my God, I don't even want to say it. I just remember after watching that movie, I was like, I'm never knocking three times, right? Isn't that the thing?
No, this one was from a widow that her husband died, and now the whole film is based on the struggle of a single mom trying to kind of get through the whole grief about his husband died and has a kid, and try to be able to cope with the feeling and things like that.
Yeah.
But I
I'll have to. I'll
but
have to watch.
probably there was some knocking at. I mean, it was a long time that I see it, but probably there was. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's an Australian film.
Am I thinking about the same thing? I don't
Yeah,
know. Okay, I'll have to. I know I'm almost at this point where I'm like, I gotta Google it. I'll
let's.
Google it afterwards. Interesting. Okay, that's cool. I'll have to. I'll have
Yeah,
to. I'll have to sick.
yeah. And also another film that possibly kind of hit me a little bit was The Joker. You know, the Joaquin Phoenix one.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a very intense film. I mean, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Some people thought that it was a little too intense, and they were like, I don't know why I would want to watch that. But it depends on what kind of what you want to gain from the experience of watching a movie. That one, yeah, definitely was like a tummy turner, and especially because of like aftermaths of the whole thing. Um, yeah, the Joker was that was intense. I don't know. I'd have to. I would rewatch that again, but it would have to be a very specific day where I'd be like, ready
oh
to
yeah,
take
yeah,
down.
yeah. There's absolutely type of films in which you are like, okay, how I feel right now, I can't watch this type of because it's gonna break me at some point. So no, no, I can't. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, the same way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's important. Now, is there a particular character or genre that you haven't portrayed yet, but you're like, but you will love to explore that anytime in the future?
Hmm. There's a lot of things that I haven't done yet, and I'd love to explore them all. Um, like I was saying, like I was playing very young for a while because I
Mm-hmm.
can have young kind of energy, and when I smile then everything's great, and you know what I mean, and I like living there because it's like it's fun, it reminds you of your childhood, and it's really good. And then a role came around for me where I was playing more my age, and there was a lot of sexual energy in terms of it.
Okay.
um it Mary F Kill, it's on Crave or it's on Tubi, and that was a bit of a turning point for me in terms of acting in the film world. I just was like maybe not ready for it just because I was
Mm.
playing so young for so long. And all of a sudden I was like very sexual and but I enjoyed the process of it. And I would totally do something like that again because I always like a challenge. But moving forward, I've always wanted to play superhero. That'd be sick,
That would be sick. Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
learning stage combat. I've done like a little bit of training in terms of that, like shooting a gun, like cool fight scenes, like
Mm-hmm.
that's super sick. So like stepping into some kind of superhero would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, Also, just like obviously, like just being on a teen show like Euphoria, or
Mm.
you know what I mean, with someone that is maybe similar, a little similar to myself, like kind of quirky, a little bit more bisexual, like very overly loving. That would be really cool to take on as well. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm here
Mm-hmm.
for it all. I don't really care. And I know that I'm huge for just like the right part will be given to you. You can't think about it too much. It'll be your part because it's your part.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it
Yeah.
would be sick that at some point you become a superhero and then you get your own figure. That would be pretty cool.
That would be
That
that
would be
would
pretty
be
cool.
sick.
You
That
know,
would be
just
so sick.
that would be
Yeah,
pretty cool.
that
Yeah.
that would be awesome. But whatever. The rest is still unwritten.
Yeah, and I mean, and we all know that it's gonna happen at some point. I mean, you know, it's gonna happen at some point. We're gonna either see you everywhere, or we're gonna have action figures and T-shirts with your face on it. You know, because of I don't know, a specific character you play, things like that. You know, the sky is the limit. Who knows?
Sky is the limit. Yeah, you create your reality, so you can do anything. It's
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, that would be pretty cool. And
It would be.
tell me how you handle the whole pressure and expectations that come when playing a character, like how you manage to be cool knowing that there's a pressure, because it happens, right? Either with acting or with music, when you are performing or singing or something, there's like this a little bit of there's this bug in your head like pushing you, right? So how you handle that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I love that feeling. I love the feeling of the pressure and of the anxiety or being scared. It's like my favorite place to live because I
Hmm.
think that when you're tapping into that, you're really close to doing something quite interesting and
Yeah.
unique and fun. And I see sometimes they say that like anxiety and excitement come from the same side, like the same side of the coin. So with the anxiety of, like, oh my God, I remember the first time I was ever on set when they called action, I like could feel my heart coming out of my chest. I felt like I was going to throw up. And I just remember being like, hey, calm down, calm down, calm down. Or even like before you're about to go on stage, like, oh, I've got this horrible thing where like, this is too much information, but I will like let go of the worst fart in the world just because my body's like, we're terrified right now. And we're just like, we just gotta let it go.
That's
So there's
fine.
like your body has like this crazy reaction of like, I'm terrified.
Hmm.
But then you're like, but you have to, and that's the discipline of like, I have to stay with this and I have to stay in this feeling. And then I'm gonna work through it and it's gonna be okay. And then it becomes excitement. And then you use it and you're like, oh, now I'm doing the thing. And then when they say cut or you come off stage, you're like, whoa, like you just passed through this like really cool threshold um, that not a lot of people want to do. Like a lot of people
Hmm.
are like, why would I want that kind of stress in my life? Why would I want to feel scared?
Yeah.
But I think the adrenaline of what happens afterwards is the addictive part. And that's why you keep doing it. Like you keep putting yourself in situations where you're like, this is really uncomfortable and like doesn't feel good. Feels like it's something
Mm.
I shouldn't be doing, but then you do it because you have because it's just you just have to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, no, yeah. I mean, you are in the moment. I mean, either you do it or just yeah. It's that simple. And it's funny when you go for it, and then later on you're at home on your pajamas watching TV or TV show, and you're like, huh, I can't believe that just happened. You know, like when you like it happens instantly. You're like, was I was just doing like a couple of hours ago? I was in, I was doing this massive stuff, and now I'm just at home chilling. That was a good day. So yeah, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know that happens to me sometimes. I mean, like some years ago, I used to do like the whole DJs. I mean, I still DJ, but back then it was I mean, I was very lucky to have the opportunity to play like in nightclubs, bars, like every now and then. So that was pretty cool. So it was funny that once I finished, I was going back home, and then I was just at my living room, just sitting watching TV, and be like, couple of hours ago, I was just in the middle of this, people dancing. We were hyping, we're having like a lot of fun, and now we're just chilling in the mid, quiet with my dogs, and like that feeling. I can't explain how, like exactly with the proper words, but you know what I mean. Like that feeling when you're like, I just can't believe that it's over, and you are happy because you took like all of your nervous and anxiety and things like that and turn it into something positive, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I know it's
I
this
love
feeling
it.
you can't describe. It's sick.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, yeah. And, there's a few actors when I asked them like how they handled, like the whole stress. Some of them, for example, one told me that before jumping on stage, she will eat a whole bag of jelly beans. Other one that they will run a mile before so they get all hype and everything. Some of them that they will eat something greasy, like super greasy to get, like everybody has their own thing, which I love it because it shows you that there is no specific path for you to follow. Yeah,
There is not.
nothing. I mean, there's no manual on how to do this. So that's pretty cool because it also gives you the opportunity for new ones to be like, okay, so I can create my own thing. And if it works for me, then it's fine. Cool. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me too, like not, but I can't eat anything before I have to do something big.
Oh
It's
yeah, me
just a weird,
neither. Yeah,
you
no,
know
me
what I mean?
neither. Mm-hmm.
It's like,
No.
you drink your water and you have your vitamins and stuff like that, but like your whole day is going towards figuring, or like meditation. I'm huge on meditation, to center yourself and find your balance
Mm-hmm.
and like
Mm-hmm.
be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, this is what we're gonna do, this is what we're gonna accomplish. And for some reason, like putting any kind of food in my stomach, I'm like, oh, this is gonna like throw everything off. Um, so I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
tell me,
I cannot imagine having fried food or jelly beans. That's really weird. That's really weird.
yeah, and also someone told me that she saw another person before jumping on stage that actually throwing up. So that person will go to the bathroom and actually throw up and then jumping stage. And I was like, that is, and she was telling me that when she saw that, she was like, okay, this is interesting. So
Interesting. That is interesting. I mean, I understand that a little bit. Like you just want to get rid of anything inside of you so you can really, like a horse. You know, when a horse has to run,
mm-hmm.
like if a horse thinks that it's gonna, I don't know, they just like shit everything out and they just release everything and then they just fucking bolt. So I can
Yeah.
see how maybe that could be a thing, but that seems a little bit, I don't know. Ah, teach their own.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone has their own thing, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, who are we to judge?
We do not judge. We don't judge.
Yeah,
Cool.
if your thing is throwing up before, go for it, or yeah, if it works and you're not affecting somebody else, then that's fine.
Yeah, fair. Very true. Very
There you
true.
go. Love it. Now, what advice could you give to aspiring actors? Like, what would it be?
Right. I think I kind of said this before, but honestly, just find a community of people who all want to do it too. And usually that
Mm,
starts with acting classes.
okay.
And then, like, to push yourself forward, like, really make friends with those people in the acting classes and, go out for coffee with them and figure out, like, why is it their passion and try to understand why it's your passion. And then, like, watch lots of movies. And then also figure out, like, at the beginning stages, of acting, definitely you want to like find somebody that you enjoy their career so that you can watch it and follow it
Mm,
along. You can be like, it just gives you a little bit more of a stepping stone to help you understand. I think if you can watch somebody else take those steps, even though your steps are going to be different, it just helps you be like, oh, that's a possible timeline. And that's what that kind of looks like for them. So if I want to achieve that, then maybe that's going to be something that, I mean, it'll be a winding path, but it'll look something like that. So, find somebody that inspires you and kind of watch them is cool as well.
there you go. There you go. I'll tell you what, if I also become an actor, I mean, I'm killing it here. If I become a musician and then an actor, and then if at some point I win something, I'm gonna also mention you in my thank you speech. Screw it. I don't care. I'm just gonna and for each trophy I get, I will be cutting half of it and send it to you so that at some point you can, we can create something. I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That'll be
yeah.
cool. There you go. Now, what do you think is the biggest misconception that people have about actors?
All right. I'd say I don't know if this is true or not, but I think that at the beginning of things, that actors are like very self motivated and maybe like self consumed and like maybe narcissistic.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get that sometimes from people who aren't really in the world. Um,
Yeah.
and that I would say it's interesting because I don't know. I kind of see actors as like very interested in psychology, and it's not only the psychology of yourself; it's the psychology of others. Um, and for me, anyways, it's not about what I look like at all. Like, obviously, in terms of the world of acting, you won't necessarily get a call back for something if you're not the right look. So you do have
Totally.
to take that into consideration of like, okay, this is the body that I was given is going to allow me to play certain parts. So that's just already a baseline. Um, and so then I have to have the understanding of like, okay, well, I'm not going to be playing a 45-year-old woman at this point, really.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
I probably well this is not necessarily true. It's like I might not play a drug addict, but actually that would be a really cool role to play, and you could. But yeah, I don't see the being of this, and I think
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of actors once they've hit a certain point, it's not about this. Like it's really not about themselves at all. But I think the misconception is that a lot of people who don't really know are kind of like, wow, these people are very self-invested.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you feel the same way. What do you think? I feel like this is an interesting question for you because you're not an actor. What do you think is like a misconception?
Well, when I first before before starting out with Chat with Dan, I used to think that actors were like a little bit capricious, you know, that they
Uh-huh.
were like a little bit what's the word here? Like a little bit impossible to reach. You know what I mean? That ego and things like that. So that was my first thought before starting with chat, with this whole platform Chat with Dan. Then later on when I started to then I created and then I started to meet like yeah, like to meet so many actors, then I totally understand to be like, no, they're totally normal. They're human just like me and everybody else here, they just have a passion and that's totally cool. And the fact that they get the chance, I mean, those who yeah, I mean, those who are not in the whole acting industry, we sometimes tend to be like a little bit harsh with actors. But when you get the chance to talk to them and they tell you about the whole about their yeah like their own process of creating a character and things like that, I mean, you start to understand that it's something more than just learning your lines and good to go. You know what I mean? Which I sometimes think people think that acting is just learning your lines and you're good to go, which is not like that. And then when you discover like the creative process for some actors, like how they manage to portray a specific type of character that is totally the opposite from what they really are. Then you start to that then you start to be like, that's pretty cool, and that's pretty. it's super hard, of course, but the fact that they manage to do that, that they sometimes they will go into this whole psychological process to create somebody else. I mean, sometimes we just don't get it because we're not there. But yeah, the more I started to create to interview actors and musicians, and like all of that, and I started to understand that it's just they're not like that. There's this false idea of the media, who show us like the whole red carpets and the awards and the like the
There's
fact.
so much like,
And there's so
sorry,
many.
but
Yeah, no, 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 yeah. What I was gonna say is
it's
that
hard.
absolutely,
Yeah,
and also
the
and
job is not that.
yeah,
The
and
job is not glory.
exactly. I mean, we who are the outsiders, what we see is just like a very small part from what is happening behind, like behind of it. And once you get the chance to know a little bit about it, then you start to understand more about their whole process here. And yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I can understand now a lot of things, and so yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I was just gonna like it's tricky, especially this year has been a bit weird. Last year I was a lead in like three different movies, which was pretty
Yeah,
crazy, and I was like, wow, I feel so honored and blessed, and I learned a lot. This year I haven't booked anything, and that's because there's the actor strike, and it's not as many opportunities. Things are still happening, but they're not happening as much.
yeah,
And that's really hard. Like it's feast to famine in the world of an actor, and it's a very interesting journey. Everyone's journey is very interesting. But in terms of this, it's like, yeah, you have certain things and then they're not there anymore. Nothing is linear, and you really do have to have a passion for it. Otherwise, it's not all fun, and it's like also just being I love being on set, but somebody else, like I had a friend of mine who I was like, oh, do you want to come along, and like we need help in this short film, be an extra, whatever. She was like, oh my god, yes, like I've always wanted to be an actor. And
yeah,
after 14 hours of like sitting on set, she was like, oh, I don't like this. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, this is boring. And I was like, no, you're gonna love the product, like this whole process is the whole. And she was like, no, Devin, I think you're crazy, and it is not for me. And I was like, really? And it's like silly of me to think that like my passion is what everybody else's passion is. Like that's not true at all. So I think
yeah.
that that's funny because like there really isn't that much glamour. The glamour only happens once the thing's out, and that's after like so many hours of work and so much
Hmm.
editing and all that stuff, right? So it's interesting.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also when you discovered that there's whole crew behind to it. You got people in charge of the whole wardrobe, of the soundtrack, of the whole background, makeup, sound. Like there's so many people behind to it. And when you get a chance like to know a little bit about the process and everything, as I said, I mean it's really cool. And it shows you that at the end of the day, I mean what I would say to people is that if you want to get inspired, check on some actor, musician, model, writer. Check on them, see what they do, because you will. I mean, I've been blessed and very lucky to have the experience to speak with so many people now. And whenever I feel down, or whenever I have like those days in which I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna quit. I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm done. I just remember like in a specific story for someone who I interviewed in the past and be like, wait a minute, they kind of went to the same thing that I am right now, and they managed to continue moving forward. What the hell am I doing? I just need to keep moving forward myself, and find a way to continue. So it's really cool, and because at the end of the day, I mean, they can choose, everyone. I mean, they could choose like a total different career, but the fact that they are stick to it, they are they are moving forward. They are moving along regardless of how difficult the road might be. Because as you mentioned, you might be booking a lot for a while, and then boom, out of nowhere, then you're not booking anything, and then like with the whole strike and everything. So yeah, it's an incredible opportunity to like to speak with so many actors and to know their story, because also you get the chance to relate somehow and be like, I felt the same way before, which I do think that is important too, to, as you mentioned, to have like a community to it. Sometimes
Mhm.
whenever we feel sad or something, we're like, no, there's no way someone can actually relate or feel as how I am right now. But once you discover, they're like, no, there's someone who actually went the exact same thing as you, and look at them. So why not?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that you're just saying that like down days, the humanity has down days. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
there's no other way to go, but through and forward. And then there's pivoting, right? Like you can always go like, okay, well maybe this isn't serving me anymore, or like
Mm-hmm.
maybe this is not it right now. And I think also having that grace of being like, hmm, so I'm not, it's not moving this way. So instead of sitting inside of that and being
Yeah.
upset about it, it's what is that teaching me, and what do I still need to learn so that I can achieve the things that I want in the future. And so you just have to like pivot your mindset to just be like, all right, so not this, so maybe this now, or maybe that, and just be open
Yeah.
to a lot of things, and don't get down on yourself, which is so much easier said than done. But yeah, like there, what else are you gonna do? You gotta wake up tomorrow and you gotta keep going. So you're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And then you just got to get on top of your mind and train it to be positive and just keep on being in alignment with where it is that you need to be. And that's it.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, at the end, just suck it up and keep moving forward.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how it is. So yeah. Now tell me, if your life were a sitcom,
Oh dear.
what would be the title of it? But also, who would play the fictional version of yourself?
Oh dear. I have no idea. I feel like if there was a sitcom, it would be something like Silly Devonland or something like that. Like that would be the title.
Okay.
Because I think that
Okay.
there's like a lot of weird stuff that happens to me on the regular just in my day. That's like
Mm,
anybody else would be brought down by. I'd be like, oh, like would be just like, man, that sucks. But for some reason I laugh at it and I think life is hilarious. And anything that gets thrown in your way, you're just like, well, that's just silly. All right, well, here we go. And then you just kind of keep on chugging along. So it'd be like probably a really comedic, weird thing of like a, you know what I mean? Like a bird having a crap on your face and you being like, well, there you go. You know what I mean? You dropping your coffee everywhere and being like, well, there you go. You know what I mean? Like
mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm.
keep on moving, you know?
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah. And also there'd be weird adventures. I'm such an adventurer and I just find myself in the strangest places all the time. So there'd be some really interesting episodes for sure. But I don't know who would play. I don't know. What do you think?
Hmm. Who would play the fictional version of yourself? Okay. This.
Right? Isn't that a weird question? Because it's like,
Hmm.
if I'm an actor, I'd probably want to play myself, but not actually, though. Honestly,
Yeah.
probably.
What about if we go? Yeah. Okay. What about if we go with Emma Stone?
That's funny.
What do you
You
think?
know what? Emma Stone's got a little bit of a quirkiness to her, and she's a bit, yeah, I could see that. That'd be sick. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
sick.
Who knows? Maybe at some point we're creating the next epic show here.
That'd be a show. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying. You know.
Interesting.
Yeah. I do
Yeah.
tend also to get myself involved in situations in which at some point I'm still wondering what the fuck. I'm like, why? I mean, back then it was really hard, but now I'm just the thing is, yeah, I'm just start laughing and be like, so it's gonna be one of those days. So yeah.
Yeah, I
You
think that we
know?
just have like these weird habits. One of my ex partners literally just like always would lose things, like
Mm.
remotes or like his left shoe. And I'm like, and he's like, I don't know, it's just gone. And I'm like, what do you mean it's just gone? Like you check the whole house, you don't know where that really important thing is, it's gone. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, how can you just like sit with that and be fine with it? But I think once you realize what your patterns are in your life, you kind of just go, huh, this is just me. And whenever I tell people about
Yeah.
stories like on my personal life, everyone's like, Devin, your life is whacked. Like it's so weird. And I'm like, it is? Like it just seems normal. But you don't know. You don't know. Your life is normal to you. And you just get used to like the weird things that happen in it. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which I would say that would go with the whole accepting yourself.
yeah,
I think when you really start to accept yourself and to love yourself and be like, this is who I am and this is the way it is, period. You start to enjoy things more and also you start to not being not being affected from things that happen outside that you can't control. You know what I mean? Which is sometimes super hard. I mean that some things will happen outside of your control and you get stressed or you get desperate to it. But once you start to learn about yourself and be comfortable with yourself, whenever you start to only focus on what you can control and what you can't control, you're like, well, that's just the way it is. So yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I love
Interesting.
it. We're just preaching. I mean, this is incredible.
We're chatting. This is
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I'm really interested to watch this. You know what I mean? We're like
Absolutely.
here. Who knows what we talked about? It's been a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Now, let's say, you know what, that one day we're gonna make this film, which goes, all of the characters you have played at the moment, they're all gonna gather to celebrate your birthday. But here's the thing, we need a title to it. So, what would be the title of this film?
My goodness. This makes me feel anxious. I don't like this question.
Okay, okay.
Uh, I don't know. I'm just like here being like, oh, um, I'm lost for words, really. All the characters that I've played in one place. That's
And
so strange.
and you.
And me.
Mhm.
Ah, God. Um, no, I'm lost. I don't know. Now I'm just like visualizing. You know what it is? I'm just like visualizing. Oh God, I don't like it. I don't like it. Um, let's do something light. I don't know. What would it be? It'd just be like, hmm,
You know, I think you just already say a title. I'm lost for words.
I'm lost for words.
There you go.
Yeah,
You
that would
know?
be it. That would be it. Look at you.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
a smart. Yeah,
I mean,
I'm lost for words. Even though
there you go.
clearly I talk so much, so I'm never lost for words, but I actually am lost for words. So it would be
Hmm.
totally that. Yeah, because nothing really makes sense
Sense.
ever. Yeah. So
There
you
you
just kind
go.
of like I'm lost for words. Cool. That's cool.
We have it. I
We
mean,
do.
yeah, it's done. Now, couple of more questions here when we're done. Here's so check this one out. If you could describe your whole career, music and acting as well, but on a drink, what would be that drink and how would you call it?
Oh, oh, like a made up drink kind of thing, or
We could
a
go
pre.
for that, or you can create your own on the spot. I mean, whatever
Okay.
it's best for you.
First thing I think about is just an espresso martini, which is
Okay, okay.
in terms of a drink because I feel like my career, like I just never stop. So that's when the espresso needs to come into there, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of classy and everybody can relate to it on a level. But like, yeah, I'm on a caffeine high all the time. Like my career is a caffeine high. Like I can't stop moving. Hence why I'm like, okay, if that's not working, I got to try this. If I can't do that, then I got to do this. And even like making music is so fun for me because it's like a consistent, like in your brain, do it, do it, do it, do it. It just feels like really fun. It feels like you're high on caffeine. And like even being on set, like making those characters and stuff like that, it's like it's that feeling. It's like sparks. And I don't know if a caffeine affects everybody the same way, but for me, when I have an espresso martini, I'm like on a different realm. Like I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
woo, you know.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
my career is an espresso martini.
There you go. I'll take it. And like, what motivates you? You know, we all have those days, as we were saying, that we just want to say, I'm done. I'm gonna go for something else, whatever. So how you manage to keep yourself positive regarding how, yeah, regardless how difficult the situation might be at that point.
Hmm. Um, like listening to songs that like inspire you
Yeah.
is great. Like I feel like to get yourself out of any kind of funk, you put on that favorite song that just like repeats for you really helps. Like I said, always a community, like waking up and having your friends that are around to kind of just like give you a reflection of yourself that maybe you can't see right now, but they can always see it within you. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you need other people to remind yourself of who you are and why you do the things that you do. So that's really important. Um, yeah, sometimes you do just need to take a break. But yeah, what keeps me motivated? Gosh, what else am I gonna do? I don't know. There's literally this is it. This
Yeah.
is life. You just have to stay excited about it, and you just come up with methods to continue to you know keep excited. I feel like routine really helps. Always get up, make your bed, start with the little things, take that shower, enjoy it, have that
Mm-hmm.
morning coffee, put on that song that makes you feel really good. And now you're like, okay, I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. I got my zone. And then you do it.
Yeah.
So
There you go. Haters
what
gonna
about you?
hate.
What?
Haters gonna hate. So
Okay.
what I do is that whenever I have like those moments, of that I need to motivate, I do a couple of things. First one is I'm starting like to motivate people. When I feel unmotivated, what I want to is to motivate people, and in during that process, I get myself back on track. So that will be one thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then if the whole feeling is even like more deep, like way more, like very, very deep, let's say, I just tend to, it is gonna sound funny, but I just tend to listen to Taylor Swift and have a good time with friends, and yeah,
People love Taylor Swift. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah. When
That's cute.
she recently was here in Mexico for a concert, and I was like super excited to go, but turns out that I kind of yeah, I wasn't able to get tickets. In other words, so I was pretty bummed of situation because I was like, God damn it, I really wanted to go. So yeah, I would say that's my jam. When when having like one of those bad days, just put some tunes to it and just start to sing with them, and then at some point I'm just feeling motivated again and back on track. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's why
Cool.
I say haters gonna hate. So just shake it up.
Who's gonna hate? Gotta keep going.
There you go. I love it. And my last question here is,
Okay.
if we you know what, Leah, let's say we're gonna make a film about the episode we just did right now, right?
Okay.
But here's the thing, we need a title. So what would you think would be the title for this episode?
Now I want to be like haters gonna hate, but that's a bit fun. No, the title of this episode, follow your heart. I feel like that's what we've talked about a lot.
Follow your heart. Okay.
No, that's kind of nice. Or I know I'm trying to think about like what did we kind of create throughout all of this. Um, I don't know, like do it for your passion or like just do it. Why don't we steal from Nike and we steal their saying and that's the title of this. Just do it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
I don't think that that's allowed, but maybe that could work.
yeah, I mean, I don't think that I would get copyrighted for this, do I?
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think so.
No, probably not. I feel
No.
like do it, you know? That could be cool for
Do
this.
it.
What do you think? What do you think?
Do it sounds good. Yeah, I would go with that. Do it. Or I don't know why, but I'm lost for words got stuck into my head.
That honestly, I think the next song I release is "I'm Lost for Words." Like that's
Yeah,
sick. Like it's actually a really good. It's a great title. Um, yeah, I find it. I feel like it's a little bit comedic though, because comical. Because neither of us have really been lost for words. We've been quite chatty this whole time,
right. So
but
that could be. What do you
it's
think?
cool. I like it. Yeah, lost for words.
Lost for words.
Lost for words. Ooh,
I mean, because that's gonna be the title for this episode, so that's gonna
I
be
love
on
it.
the title for the whole thing on YouTube, Spotify. So
Great.
we
Sick.
have a title. I mean, at the end, what can I say, Devin? I mean, I love what you do. It's incredible. It's amazing. It's badass. I mean, now I understand why I got this feeling that you are a total badass from the beginning, because you are.
You're funny.
And yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible what you do. It's amazing. But also, I love the fact that you're doing it because you love it. And as simple and cliche that it may sound, we all know that it's a pain in the butt to do something that actually makes you happy. It's super hard, but you're doing it. You're making it happen. You are. Yeah, you're just doing it, and that is amazing. And I'm super sure there's people out there who sees you as a role model or sees you as someone who gets things done, which is really cool. And I'm super sure that our next conversation, it's gonna be about the multiple thousands of things you've been here and there, because it's inevitable. I mean, I do believe that good things happen to those who are honest to it, and so yeah.
Authenticity. Yeah, yeah. It's been really nice chatting with you. I've appreciated it so much. These are great questions.
Thank you.
And I think also something like this, it really helps continue to like remind you of the journey and just like
There you go.
you just gotta keep on chugging. And it's really cool. It's really cool what you do. This is really sick.
Thank you.
It's like congratulations.
Thank
Very
you.
cool little
I
podcast.
love it. I love it. I love that. Thank you so much. And I do want to thank also those who stayed here. Yeah, throughout the whole episode. Make sure to go follow Devin like right now. As I said in the beginning, you're gonna find all of the social media behind, yeah, on the description below. Let's make it viral. Hashtag Team Devin. And again, keep killing it, keep rocking, keep being this incredible of a sunshine person you always are. And I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks.
All right.